Water doesn't know a political party. It flows and is consumed by people irrespective, and that's how the issue should be addressed. I'm a lifelong resident of Wausau. It's great because it's got the 4 seasons and it's got ample recreational opportunities, good feel, good culture, good people. PFAS in Wausau were discovered as a result of sampling, both in 2019 and then again in 2022. The PFAS concentrations were above Wisconsin Department of Health Services recommendation of 20 parts per trillion in all 6 of our wells. We were the only community in the state where all of our wells went down. People were concerned, fearful of whether they should drink the water, what impact it would have on them, and if they were pregnant on their pregnancy. The Wausau Water Works Commission, of which I'm a member, decided that we wanted to be protective of the public. How do we remove it from the system so that people can have access to safe drinking water? One of the immediate responses of the city was to make $150,000 of American Rescue Plan Act dollars available for bottled water. So we had that immediate response in early 22, the granular activated carbon system being installed and operational late 2024. There are ongoing costs associated with it. The carbon will need to be changed out. That cost could be $1 million a year. We have PFAS, and it's a concern in Rib Mountain and Mosinee, in Rothschild and Weston. All of those communities have had one or several wells impacted by PFAS, and they're all trying to address it. There are the short-term and the long-term impacts of having contaminants in your water supply. On a long-term basis, there are the long-term health impacts. PFAS are known as forever chemicals because of the strong carbon-fluorine bond. They don't break down quickly. If we don't take steps now to remove them from the manufacturing process and address the contamination, it will be here for future generations. It's taken up by fish, it's taken up by deer, it's there, and we need to address it. A formal responsible party has not been determined. The city of Wausau is part of a class action lawsuit against certain manufacturers, so that will play out in courts. Polluters need to be held accountable for the contamination that is caused by their activities. Without holding those parties responsible, the contamination generally won't be addressed, and/or the responsibility to pay for it is shifted to the government. And the government has limited resources in which to pay for it. Wausau, like a lot of older cities, has a lot of the water service lines, and the distribution systems comprised of lead pipe. And it's known that lead will leach off those distribution systems into the drinking water. And the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, has developed standards for both lead and copper. In Wausau, the problem is about 8,000 lead service lines serving them. We've been working on trying to replace both the public side and the private side. This next year, they're hoping to replace up to 1,900 service lines in the community with a principal forgiveness grant for the private side, and the city side would be at a low interest loan. But the goal is to try to, within a reasonable period of time, replace all of the service lines in the community based upon available funding. We're dealing with trying to get policymakers who have limited knowledge of issues to make decisions that are in the best long-term interests of the public. To address PFAS contamination, we need to make sure that adequate resources are available. State funding is critical in providing access to an immediate response fund and to deal with major capital costs. I think legislators need to understand the importance of addressing PFAS contamination now, and the best way to do that is to make the funds available. In the last session of the legislature, there was $125 million put into a trust fund. There's a need to release that money and get it out for sampling. We also need to make investments in how do we address it once it's found, but it takes a coordinated response. We need to get the money out to communities. This is not an issue that should be held up. We should be addressing the issue as quickly as we can through sampling and providing assistance to communities and other entities trying to address the PFAS contamination issue. Our water distribution system serves all residents of the city of Wausau, irrespective of political party, philosophical perspective. So there's an importance for us to address that contamination in a comprehensive, nonpartisan basis.